All right, yogis. So today we'll start in the child pose. Remember, if you want more, you could put your arms on your blocks. That's going to be a bigger underarm lat release. This muscle is very tight on a lot of people and it restricts the shoulder, and that can make the neck tight as well, right? So that's an option. Or just a gentle child pose. Sometimes I like to massage my forehead on the ground as a nice therapeutic, but nothing doesn't have to be fancy. A meditative posture, setting some intention. My second class today is a meditation class, and today we're working on intention setting, visualizing, where different aspects of ourselves, we're getting clearer intentions. So, starting with seeing our healthiest physical goals and body, right? So when I have you in maybe first position, you'll get clear on your objective and intention in your inner mind, seeing your thoughts are aligning with what you want physically. So you're seeing your healthiest physical self, right? You're seeing yourself without your pain. You know how you think of the injury, the pain, the past. You're thinking of the future desired self and seeing it very clearly in your head. Not only are we doing, conditioning, working of the body, the physical muscles, joints, cardiovascular, neural system, we're doing a psychological mental work, reconditioning the form, the healthiness of the thoughts. So right now you might be picturing and seeing your healthiest self, pain-free, strong, youthful, glowing skin. Try to picture your best physical self, having your thoughts align with intention and desire. Okay. And then we're going to go through all these different layers of ourself in the meditation class. I'll mention them quick today. I won't do it as a full system. All right. All right, yogis, let's keep it going. I'm going to rise you up. We're going to do a nice relaxing class today, but pick it up if you need, okay? Good old cat cow. And you get the question, cat cow. It's a little bit more for the lower back, core, and like the pelvic tilt, your hips. The upper body is like secondary, I will say. So I like to do a few really focused on the lower body, okay? And then maybe a few on the upper body, like the neck, spreading the back more. It's not easy to drop the chest between the arms. That's called retraction with the spinal arching and the chin lifting. So, trying to do too much there, it might be overkill. So, you can break it down. If you want to try it right now, this is a great movement we do not do enough of. It's the serratus press. It can be part of cat-cow or the scapular push-up, some people call it. Remember, my arms stay straight here, yogis. My back doesn't arch. Spine stays neutral. My chest drops between my arms, which rolls my scapula backward together. And then I spread the back. I drop the chest between the arms. It's going to feel weird at first. And I spread the back, okay? So you can see it, I'm not bending my arms. I'm not arching or rounding my spine. I'm just dropping the chest between the arms. That's a really important movement because a lot of us get that trap, this tension here. Really happy I don't get that anymore. This kind of knots here. My traps aren't tight, my rhomboids aren't tight. Yeah, but you still hear that a lot from people, all right? I'm going to kind of keep going here, yogis. You're kind of painting your own picture, listening to your body, pausing where you need to. That was just a little extra, the scapular press. Don't forget that one. Extension of the arm and the leg. Inhale, right arm and left leg. Exhale. Opposite arm and opposite leg, pausing. Exhale. This is for strength, but you are going to get some nice release. And it's a very basic form here, guys. Just notice if my right leg goes back, it's my left arm. It's not the same side, okay? You're pressing that opposite foot down and hand down. Now, this is just such a fantastic exercise. It's in the realm of Warrior 3, and it has some balance, has some big muscles in it. Don't forget, you have this fascial line across your back. It goes from your left shoulder down across to your right butt. And it's a really important part of how your body works and stabilizes its pelvis and core. Man, this is one of the fantastic fundamentals right here. All right. All right, yogis, please take your time. I'm going to go into an isolated form today. Then now we add the crunch. It kind of is second round, but it'll be 2 parts. Right leg's going to rise, right knee to forehead. So you kind of really just isolate it better. It's second leg lift. If you'd like to add a little extra, right knee, right arm. Okay? Right leg back, right knee kind of under across lightly, and just doing it in a therapeutic, more gentle way. I like to think of this class sometimes as one long warm-up. You know, we're not like really challenging the body in any extreme intention today. I mean, today will probably be a workout day for me because I'll do my therapeutics other days, right? So I have it on Sunday for you, whether you want it or not. That's not how I would do it. I would basically feel my body that morning and then make that decision. So let's do our second side. I really want a lot of movement in the hip and the knee. I want the core. It's kind of the cat-cow combined with the leg and arm extension exercise. So your first 2, active exercises combined now into one. And some of you are doing with the arm too. That's cool. But, you're still reaching your opposite arm and then hugging it under. When I'm gonna like work out and do anything strong, I always do this to some extent. I'll usually do it like plank. So that would be our stronger way. Pull plank, hover right foot, knee to forehead, 3-legged plank. You can even go back to dog. We're about to go to down dog. And just giving you some, food for thought of different variations of the same intentions. All right, yogis. So I'm going to do just a round of push-ups here. Remember that like full push-ups, they say 64% about in the average person. 64% of your weight is in like your arms. On your knees, it's something like 50%. So it's still great, right? I'll do knees with you this morning. Notice I did walk my knees a little back, right? Elbows hug in. And I just do some more therapeutic push-ups so they're not so strenuous. I am going to go full. I'm going all the way down. I know every yoga teacher says go halfway only. That's a really good cue because a lot of people don't engage well. It's almost like a lazy thing to go all the way down. But if you can go further in activation, it is good, right? Because then if you're only strong here, look. What if you have to push something here, right? That's a different strength. So doing it between here is also good. It could be a little bit more risky, I guess, if you're just getting lazy or flopping around. Nice set of push-ups here, guys. And we're going to be off the wrist here in a moment. I know it can be a lot on your wrist. We'll do a wrist release shortly, but roll them out or whatever you need to do, okay? All right, we're going to go back to down dog is next. So first big frontal inversion. Child pose was the initial opening inversion. Get into your down dog, open up those feet and calves, move in ways that feel good this morning. Move your hips a little side to side. I like to say it as look for stickiness that's hard to describe in those in-between places in your body.
all the stretches and positions, they're all like very structured and linear, and you gotta like get outside of all that and explore those hard to describe and in between places. Yeah, nice. Go forward and back. Plank to dog is a really nice one. I don't tend to hold plank too much anymore. If I do, it's like a balancing plank, a side plank, a twisting plank. I will do push-ups and then hold like a handstand maybe. Plank, it's a fantastic exercise, but I tend to do push-ups instead as of the last few years.
All right, guys, let's take it down to the chest. So we're gonna shift forward, maybe drop to the knees and take it down. So a few of these, just repetitive cobras today. Instead of doing them one and then something else, I'm gonna start in my gentle cobra, kind of lifting and holding, and then dropping. I'll do a few here, just kind of lifting a little bit. My back's feeling a little sensitive the last day or two. Doing a lot of massage and strong exercise. Just gotta honor it. Even though I want to work out strong, that might not be my best decision. Irritate it if it's irritated. If I want to go a little further, go up to my high cobra, lower down with some activation in the back body. There is this version, you bring the hands a little wide, you lift up and you kind of turn the shoulder down, look to the side. Then I look to the second side, the right shoulder dips in. We've done this before, it's been a little while. I don't teach it that much because it's difficult to create spinal length.
If I could say, that's one of my little pet peeves in yoga, that yoga teachers aren't taught and aren't aware of. If you're doing Cobra and you're teaching fancy yoga, all the yoga teachers want the new and the fancy, and I get it, but if you're doing Cobras with your hands way out, and I mean, it becomes something very different, like the Cobra is just compressing the posterior spinal joints, and your lumbar is already like predisposition to posteriorly compress because it's in a back curve, right? So the back of the joints is what takes the pressure normally. So just telling people to like bend in the Cobra, it's not good. We don't understand in yoga that our goal is to activate our back body and to lengthen our core and spine. All right. And a lot of people don't do either of those when they're doing Cobra. Me, myself included, a few years ago. All right. So that's something we really got to be resilient on remembering. Okay.
All right. Lower down to the chest. Let's keep it going here. I want that nice big chest opener, guys. We did it last Sunday. Right arm reaches out. You want a little bit more, you bend that arm. Just notice the position in the elbow relation to my shoulder. It's not here. You could do this one. That's a nice stretch. There is this one. There's this one. There is this one. I like this one, the lateral rotation. I push through my left hand. Okay, and I roll open to the left. I'm like this, but on my chest, so you can see it, okay? Left leg can reach behind you.
You did some core push-ups, down dog, Cobras. Now you slow down again and you meditate. Now, if we were doing our meditative holding, practice visualizing. I might say now, what's the second body? It has a lot to do with like relationships, your kids and family, and you can visualize them now. So if our first meditation was visualizing our physical health, and now it's visualizing, like, it could be a relationship. Say you want something to heal in a personal relationship, or you want a new relationship, or you picture somebody else being healthy, and you go into this potent, you stop thinking about things you don't want so much. There's a famous quote in yoga: worrying about stuff that you don't want all the time is like praying for it. You have this strong emotion and thought combining this vibration into the collective energy universe, and you're like a beacon sending that out. You're like, it's like someone you don't want to be around. It's like you're calling them and saying, come on over, or hang out in my living room all the time. You got to stop that, sending out that message. You got to send out the message you desire. Okay, can we do our second side? So you're visualizing, if you're just giving you a little meditation practice and something you can do on your own. It's the relationship body. This is the time when you pray for, pray for others. Is another way to say it. Prayer, it's one of the most underused, powerful tools. Prayer is a dogmatic word that people associate with religion all the time, and it turns people away from it, and that's very sad. Because it's linking intention, emotion, thought, concentration. It's such a powerful practice, and it's always evolving, like the body. If you're evolving your ability to pray more clearly with, intention and, power and love. It's so underutilized by the modern human. Basically, spirituality in general is extremely underutilized. Everyone's extremely physical and superficial. I pray to all the gods. I don't even care. Allah, Jesus, Krishna, nature. I pray to all of them. Because, just a different word for the same stuff. So let's come out of that nice and slow, yogis. We'll come back to our quick child pose. You did the active back bends, and then that's a back bend with the twist. And that's really the first big twist. So you press it back. We're just taking our time, yogis.
All right. So next is the lunge. We go right into it when you're ready. So this kind of goes together, right? Symmetrical back bend, boom, right foot forward. Now, if you need a strong lunge, you weren't in class. We did, remember the 3 big lunges sets on Thursday. Yesterday was a lot of different crazy lunging and complexities, the vinyasa. If you want to go here, you can. Okay, or here. I'm going to bring the back knee down this morning because we haven't done it all week. All right, lift the chest. I'm going to go into the first side bend. I'm going to roll my shoulders back and down. I am going to press the feet down. Your weight bearing on your legs, you got to engage, yogis, okay? This ain't passive stretching right now. Now, if you want that big side bend, my right leg is forward. My left arm goes up and over, okay? And I can even turn my chest a little to the right and side bend there. It's almost like I'm back bending slightly. That is a really big stretch. Only a few breaths, right? Big pose, yogis. It's okay to take it easier now. Come on. Another second chakra meditation, if you want to drop into your intention, visualizing your best self in some form, would be your happiest self. That's basic, right? Physical health is like root chakra. Happiness is second. That's the key. You have to visualize your happiest self. I think about times when I was ecstatically happy. When I was in college, we went to the College World Series. We were underdog. We'd never even been to regionals, and we swept through regionals and then quarter regionals. I don't know how we did it, but I remember sweeping through the final regionals, and we were all just like drunk. Like, how the heck did we do that? It was so weird. We beat every team. And I try to think of that energy. Like, think of yourself as your happiest. Picture it. Okay, can we do the second side of our lunge? So right now, you're doing the mental alignment. You're doing the thought and emotion, intention and conditioning, not letting the body get unhealthy. That's why you exercise, and not letting the mind get unhealthy. And that's why you do the meditation.
Okay, so and then you go into a few moments picturing your healthiest self or happiest self. Okay, you did physical, you did relations, you did others. Now you're doing your happiest self. So you're healthiest, you're happiest, right? And then your relationships are how healthy and happier. If I was teaching this to a Buddhist monk, it would not be relationships second because they're not even worried about that. They're on the journey alone. They like renounce life and just meditate. There's no relationships really, right? The Westerner thrives on the relationships. So we're doing the lunge, you're doing your side bend. Everyone looks pretty good that I can see. I can see like 2 years half there. So, just a nice lunge. We're not doing a ton of them. That's your lunge, right? When you're done, please take your time, neutralize for a moment. This will be an opportunity for Vinyasa Chaturangas if you want. I'm not going to really do them as a group today, okay? All right, yogis, please take your time. That is a back bend, just to be clear, right? So now what will we do? Quick down dog, a nice forward bend. So that's a back bend and bend knee, right? This is the symmetrical forward bend, all right? Little inhale, half lift, little forward bend. This is kind of the first time here since down dog, really. I'm just forward folding, touching my toes. If I want to sway, if I want to crawl hands over, just keeping it simple Sundays, okay? If I want to throw my hands behind my back for a big stretch, tuck my chin to chest more, neck stretch, have a personal go here. All right, yogis, we're going to slowly stand up. A couple of light standing exercises. You know it, one of my favorites, we did dynamic twisting. And I want you to think almost like dancing, right? You want to move that body. I'm starting to pivot. Look at that knees. See how they kind of turn in a little bit? They turn out. Okay, the arms start to go, and I'm just kind of moving a little bit more than we have done today. Yogis, sometimes we swing it. Sometimes can't do them all. How are you feeling today? Can you make an intelligent decision there? I don't like that a lot of yoga teachers get so in the idea that they know best. The whole goal is to teach you to be intuitive and listen to the inner voice. It's not to like just constantly get more dependent on others. So I don't care if you're a master doctor, they make tons of mistakes too, right? Obviously you want to seek professional aid in all areas, but if you get too dependent and you're not instructed or guided to like trust your inner self, that's a problem, yogis. That's lack of self-belief. No matter what I say, it's an outer voice. It's not you. And we're all learning to connect to deeper layers of our knowledge self and the wisdom of the mind and body and spirit. So the whole goal is to, my dream is I show up here and none of you are listening to me. I'm looking at the screen and every single one of you are doing your own thing. That's my dream. All right, because that means I've taught you a lot of stuff and you're applying on a very personal, intelligent, intuitive level. All right, I want to do our one level of squats here, guys. You did a nice twist. Think very forward and back. You just really kind of swung and loosened, turned and twisted, and now you kind of linear tighten, right? Then you inhale, you get your chair. This is chair, in yoga. And in fitness, we call it squatting.
And just notice at the top, I kind of squeeze that butt, okay? Inhale, exhale. So it's posturing, Tadasana, to chair or squat. You can go a little faster. I'm gonna give you another minute to squat, please. You know, this would be a good moment actually, because it's a power exercise. Really, we're in the third chakra, right? What's the third chakra? You know, your powerful self. It is the ego. You know, ego's not the enemy. It's unhealthy ego imbalance that could be a problem, right? Where you're too materialist, you're too selfish, or the illusion that you're like, certain people are better than other. When we meditate here, there's a lot of different things we could do, but for today's sake, you visualize yourself in its most powerful, strong form. The mantra is, I am strong. I am strong. A lot of people, the mind gets too weak. The body's fragile, too easily offended. Opposite party, politician, I get offended by what they say. I am powerful. I am strong. I take no offense. These are like power mantras. Yoga is not just about, I'm a nice person. Okay, because that can be unhealthy too, where you're too fragile and nice and everything offends you. Okay, being nice is not enough. It is a heavy part of it though. You're not nice, that's the first thing. I don't care if you're powerful at that point, you can be nice first. Okay, because unhealthy power is worse than unhealthy nice. I am powerful. See yourself as your most powerful self. Come on now, it takes practice. This vision of yourself, the destiny, the intention takes a lot of practice. Okay, so you're seeing yourself as you're powerful because squatting goes with that. And the body follows the mind, yogis. All right. Okay, I want to keep going. All right, so you did some forward and back. You did some, we did a little side stretch, but we have to condition the side. I'm not going to do side plank today. Easier would just be something like this, but that is kind of stretchy. One of my favorites here, we have not done this in like 2 weeks probably, which is rare for me. It's just kind of to reach your arms up in the side bend. Simple Sundays. I pretty much do this even if it's 1 or 2 regular, multiple days a week. Going side to side. Now there is some activity, right? You came from bending and arching, rounding. You came from twisting. It's 3 planes of movement is the idea, guys. Last few. Remember in the old Sunday meditations, we've done this meditation before, right? You see your most healthy, happy, strongest, you see your most caring self in the 4th chakra. That can be a relationship center too. You see yourself as like the healer, like you walk through a mall and everyone is just healing around you. You see that vibration. The ancient yogis talk about you can take on this healing form, right? It doesn't come naturally though, it has to be a practice. And then you see yourself as your most intelligent, you see yourself as your most completely mental healthy, you go revisit some of the mental, and then you see your most divine form in all of them. All right, let's keep going, shake it out please. Balance, tree, boom, boom. If you're feeling good here, okay, a nice sturdy balanced posture now. So if we were going through the meditation, you could say, you see yourself as your most stable here. Like I said, kind of the emotions can be all over. This offends you, this scares you, then you're up and down. All emotions are all over the place, right? See yourself as you're centered more. You see your more grounded, kind of stable self. You're most emotionally stable. It's a big thing now in modern, right? It's the emotional intelligence. It's hard to see the emotional body, isn't it? It's easy to see stress. It's easy to see joy. What about all the other ones?
having an emotional practice is key, man, because that's going to control the thoughts in the body a lot. When you get too stimulated from other things, you need this to be happy. That unconditional happiness development. Because then if you don't have that thing, you're not happy. All right, so let's do our second side tree. You're seeing yourself as your most emotionally stable, not necessarily your happiest now. Because if that's associated with an extreme, and you could be doing the practice of seeing yourself, it depends on the person, right? You see yourself as your most caring, your most loving. I don't think any of you guys in the room have a problem with that, though. You kind of, what you do is you think of someone you admire, like a few people you admire, and you take all their best qualities and then you merge those into your identity, right? Like you see yourself as the most giving, you see yourself as the most strong, you see yourself as the most beautiful. That's fine, you do that too, right? You see yourself as your most intellectual, your most intelligent. You see yourself as your happiest. You see those things. You see yourself as the most wealthy. That's a big one too. That's fine. And then all of a sudden you put them all together and you basically see your greatest self. You wake up, that's the first thing you do, because then you have the system and it's easy to get right into it. And then that day, whatever you're lacking, you focus on that. All right. So you're done there. I want to do my calf raises, guys. So simple exercises this morning. Boom. Get up on those toes, lift those heels, hold on to a chair if you need. If your foot or ankle's hurting, you can kind of, do one leg with less weight. One leg is the focus. You're still doing both, but a lot of days your physical body is going to need a lot of attention and meditation. A lot of it's going to be your emotional body. A lot of days it's going to be your happiness body. That's associated with emotion. A lot of days it's going to be power body. You have to wake up and remind yourself how strong you are. Yogis, until mental health has to be a practice. You ain't gonna just naturally have mental health. It's not possible. It's very rare. Let's just say, the world is too complex. There's too much stimulation in a negative sense. Coronavirus has everyone a loop. So does everything else. There's too much technology, social media. Everyone's looking at. Basically, Instagram is like fake. It's like everyone's fake, beautiful, filtered life. This is what I'll show you. It's all fake. It's like we all need the mental health practice. All right, do this. Make sure you're doing your last round here. I'm really focusing on the meditation, yogis, today, all right? Because I'm not teaching enough in these classes. So I do want one hinge. So I'll give you the option. You can either do warrior one, warrior three hold. You can either do this. If my back was hurting at all, I would do that, right? Because that's a back correction. Bend knees, feet hips with distance, weight and toes, hinge. Does my spine round? No. This is a little bit more like my cow. That's a little bit more like my cat. Inhale, weight and tension, hamstrings. Exhale. Ardha Uttanasana, Tadasana. That's the most basic, and I do it all the time in warm-ups. I could do my dynamics like this, in and out of warrior three. How are you feeling? This is pretty basic. That would be the same kind of thing on one leg. You could even do it more simple. Tadasana, one-legged hinge, or you could hold warrior three.
They all fill what I'm trying to get you to work on, guys. A hinge practice. Work, but be easy. It's Sunday, maybe. Unless you feel like you want strong. Hinging practice, yogis. So it's basically bending over, hands go on the hips, you're hinging halfway, and we're not obsessing over range of motion. That's much more risky. It's just like that relates to Instagram. You look at all the yogis, they're all like, look how far I can bend, I'm good at yoga. That's not real. I mean, most people go for that, you're gonna end up in a hospital, right? You know, that's how like yoga teachers, you know, people will go to their account and then it's like, wow. And then they earn respect and people go to your class, right? So it's kind of like almost a need now. And you become like a leader because you can do a lot of things that they desire and can't. And they're, wow, like art and wow, power, right? So you tend to follow those types of people, but it's like, it's not goal. Our goal is health and longevity in yoga, right? So you're done with your hinges. You got one more, 30 seconds here. Make sure you're doing your second side if you're on one leg. I'm just going through one round of each, right? We don't have too much time, so we got to kind of pick and choose here. So yogis, we got time for one more standing posture. Some options could be a shoulder stretch if you want to keep it simple, a nice Gomukhasana. That might be nice. You could do some neck stretching. I'm making you make a choice. Can't do everything. You can do a little ear to shoulder. We already did shoulder opener here. You don't really need to go here. You could do a shoulder opener here. That's nice. What do you need? Neck, one more shoulder. Do you need something like this to loosen up your hips? This is hip circling, okay, and core circling. You kind of already did stuff like this, but can't go wrong. You want more leg strength? Come on, some days you got to pick that stronger version here. You get into that nice glute squat and you do some pulsing. I want to give you an opportunity for a personal decision choice and take one more standing pose here. Nice little strap stuff. I mean, yogis, after this, we're going to do the bridges and the core, and then it's kind of like stretching. So, if you want to get some active stuff in, now's a good time. We got 20 minutes left in class, okay? Yeah, so if you were doing the meditation, right, I wouldn't distract you with a lot of exercise, but you might do the intellectual self, right? It's important that we also reinforce the identity of our mind, like our information body. You kind of have to, it's easy to get around a lot of intellectuals and not feel very smart. It happens to me all the time. I'm pretty good with the body, but one of my clients, he's a retina geneticist. He's like famous, and the guy's like too smart, and I get around and my brain doesn't work for some reason. You have those types of relationships. You get around certain people, you don't feel pretty. You get around certain people, you don't feel strong because they're further in the journey on that body. So it's important that we like meditate on and like reinforce, like I'm smart. You see your brain like processing information. So you visualize your most intelligent self. Your identity is I am smart. Okay, because you get around smart people and then you're identifying as not being smart in that time. You're creating your own identity via intention. You're not letting others and randomness do it. Okay, all right, let's make our way down to the ground, guys. I'm going to bring you down to the ground. Not too much arm bearing exercise, right? What was it? Push-ups and dog, and you can do some stuff there if you want, okay? But I'm going to take you down to the back. I'm going to go right into our bridges, please. If you have a band around your thighs, I do it more like that than this. I know every yoga teacher obsesses with this, but biomechanically, kind of makes sense, not really. It's funny. They have you engage these inner thighs to disengage here, but that's what we're working on. When I work with you privately, I put a band around your thighs. It's the opposite. I literally do opposite of what every yoga teacher instructs. Okay? Bridge, 1 solid minute and a half to do some bridge work, up downs. This is our posterior active back bend, no locust, none of that today. If you're feeling good, it's one leg, please.
Another cool way you could do this, like say you're in a meditation retreat, say it was 7 days, 7 chakras, 7 identities. The 7th one being the full, right? You do the different bodies in meditation each day, and then you put them all together in the final day. And then you have your system and you have the pieces to keep working on your own once you go home. Right? So you did the intellectual body. You also, that's a space where you meditate like on your career. Like say you need a change in your career. That has to do with this, right? It's like your skills, the Dharma, the 5th chakra, intellectual truth, your honest self, that's all there too. You meditate on that aspect. And then, you take your time here, yogis. You're doing your bridges. It's like one final strength for the front and back body. We did that in tabletop earlier, push-ups and cobras. And you're revisiting all that in a final sense. So this is like our back, okay? And then it would be front, like your abs, let's call it. I'm just going forward here so we have enough time in the end. You know me, I love this dead bug and we don't do it enough. It's simple. The key is to keep my lower back down. Inhale, you did this in the beginning, right? Remember how we reached table, opposite leg and arm. Keep the belly in as the limbs go forward and back. Your pace, no rush. If you want to skip abs and do bridges, oh, that's a good choice. Abs get too much love. Back body does not get enough love. You're constantly, you're like shaving your front body and then you're putting makeup on the front body and you're looking at the front body. That's attention. Your front body gets more attention and you're looking at it. You don't look at the back body ever. It doesn't get attention. Poor back body. So we got to like set intentions to get into our back body awareness. You have to feel it and, have a practice because you're always looking at the front body, your face and imagine the physical body gets more attention via the consciousness than the mental body. When I'm president, kids are going to be taught psychological principles from friggin' kindergarten. I'm tired of the superficial, tactile education. We need to be mentally educated from a very young age. Life is, what's it going to be like in 50 years? Is there going to be any reality? Everyone's going to be like virtual reality. We need to get a hold of this young. It's too hard to get it when you're older. It's very difficult, right? All right, so listen, guys, we're done there. Looks like you guys are done. I'm gonna start strap stretching, maybe a quick happy baby, knees in the chest. You did some tension, back and front body, activation. Let's do some nice release. If you don't have a towel, my favorite house prop is either, if you don't have a strap, a belt, a pair of sweatpants. You just put the crotch area around you and you grab the ankles. Works fantastic. Or, beach towel. All right, so let's put the strap around our right foot. Now remember, you can do like circling, you can do dynamics up and back. When I do this, it's like a mix of things. I might move the leg, bend and straighten the knee, flex and point the ankle, turn the ankle in and out. It's not good to be too busy always physically, just in case, if you always do it the same old way like yogis do. Hold the strap up. Okay. You be an artist in your body, guys. That's fourth chakra. That's a high level of being, is to be the artist. It's a high level of brain function. That's another thing. I don't like the controlling. That's like the unhealthy ego center. It's a low sat chakra. When the teacher knows best. That's for kids. That's not for adults. All right. Now, remember, the first part is kind of up and then it's open, right? You could also go like halfway across. You're doing some stretching here on your back. You could even do like a quick figure 4. You can mix that into this. We're doing some posterior stretching, and then you go inner body stretching, and then you kind of go outer hip and then spinal rotation. So I'm going to give you, I got you right here on the clock, another 45 seconds, a minute on this leg. Now, the final meditation would be, let's say putting it all together, right? Your physical health, I call it emotional health, I guess, your happiness, your strong self, like your ego health, you could say. And you could also say like money health, you could say relationship health. Then you got your caring self. You're like loving, you're tender, you're tolerant. Your most compassionate self. That's lacking a lot in modern. And then there's intellectual and career health and skills, and then mental health is like top, right? It's like a lot of them combined, and then it's just like your complete self. See your best self as you truly desire it. That's really the end game. It's not a part of it. It's holistic. Yoga means union. It's bringing it all together. This is my meditation. This is what I do pretty much daily. Okay, do the second leg now, please. If you haven't, some of you are already there. You're in stretchy. After this, we're going to do a block supported posture, restorative bridge, restorative fish. I'm going to give a couple options for a front body stretch. This is all back, outer, inner body stretching. So we got to do a front after this. All right, so we'll get there. Now just do your thing. Stretch in a way where you're very internal, having a potent internal experience. The 3 planes of movement are involved here, right? The first part, we call it sagittal. It's basically like forward and back. The leg just goes straight up. And then there's like the leg goes to the side. There is some quality of like light rotation there, but it is more of that coronal, right? It's like from the side, from the back, you could see it. First part, if you were looking at it from back, couldn't see it, right? But then there's the big kind of rotation. The whole core rotates, and that's usually just called the transverse spiral rotation. So there's the 3 planes of movement there. All right. I like this stretching. I don't teach it enough these days, right? Because I tend to keep it for more gentle practices. Last minute here. Another way you can do the different identity meditations, I've done this before with you guys, it's the negative aspects. You literally have to look at the problem. Most people try to avoid the problem, and that's why the trauma sits there for 20 years, right? Because you got to like got to process it and you got to like study it. That's how you get over it. It's by more awareness of it. And then, in my opinion, there's different opinions on that, by the way. And you basically meditate on what you fear. And then you meditate on your pain. And then you meditate on your guilt. And you meditate on your shame, all the stuff you regret and don't forgive. And then you meditate on the problems in your relationship. And you meditate on your sadness and your anger. And then you meditate on your, it keeps going, right? You meditate on your, what am I forgetting here? Your lack of compassion and your greed and those are fun meditation days, man. You go into some dark spaces in those. But it's like you're bringing light into the dark, right? Or else it just stays dark and unknown and cloudy. So listen, guys, a front body stretch. So this is pretty much the end, guys. A front body stretch could be something like this. When my back hurts, I really don't do restorative bridge. I would more likely do this, way more likely. My back hurts from sitting, it's this. I told you guys, when I sit for too long, I literally do this immediately. I don't be doing a restorative bridge, right? Even though that plays a good role, but putting a block under your butt could be one. This is like a type of Virasana quad hip flexor stretch. Another, if my back hurts, I definitely do this one. Thoracic extension or Sphinx. Okay, so you got one more nice pose here. I'm going to give you 2 minutes or so, 2 to 3 minutes. This will lead us into closing passive meditation. I will run to the restroom really quick. I'll be right back. Finish up your practice, please. All right, Yogi. So you can do legs up the wall if you want to do a therapeutic to end. No inversions today for the legs. That's an important aspect. Like I did my 5-minute headstand yesterday. So some of you know I'm doing a little November challenge for myself, and I've invited some of you to do it. I'm doing a little November challenge before the New Year and Christmas. Is hard to do it around, But some things I'm working on. No caffeine. Today's the last day. Oh, my last cup of coffee. One more sip. But no caffeine for me. That's a thing I'm quitting. Again, because I did about 6 months and I got back into it. I'm going to do more meditation with sound therapy every day. Even though I meditate pretty much every day, more. That's one of my big things. I'm also doing cold therapy every day. That's a big, tough one for me. I skip days. That's not good. I need that cold therapy. Really good for the chemical body, inflammation. I'm going to study stuff I don't study daily. Pretty much read every day. I want to get outside my zone, do some financial study every day. That's what I'm doing. All right. This is a weird one, but I'm doing light therapy on areas where light doesn't ever go to. I have a light panel, light therapy on the genital butt part every day. What are 5, 3, 1 thing you could do for November? Make it a 30-day challenge. Okay, that's all I'm going to do for me. It starts tomorrow. No caffeine, headstand. I'm going to do cold therapy, light therapy, meditation. That's mine. All right. So So closing meditation here, yogis. Now, we did a big meditation awareness class. I'd go passive now, unless you want to drop into seeing your greatest self. All right. So what you do is you did a lot in the body and you're just kind of unwinding there. You get comfortable, you know the deal. You take a deep breath or two. I didn't really focus on breath at all today. That's part of our practice, not by any means more important than any other aspect, but so you take a deep breath or two, you fidget, and then you commit to being still and centered and calm, centered, grounded, your great self. And you really let your mind and body rest. All right. I am going to leave you here, guys. Just like we work on extending strength some days and stretch, you work on extending meditation when you can, please. Come on. Do the work where it needs to be done. Happy Halloween, by the way. I'll leave you here, yogis. Thank you so much. Good job today in your meditation and your physical practice. I got to head to my next class. It's in a half an hour, all right? Namaste, yogis.
Thank you.